I think the one thing is we can all appreciate how real the pain of not being able to have a child that you really would love to have is. So she was trying to essentially weigh up the suffering of adults against potential suffering of children. So
Yes, so
how
you're
would
going
you
to find
approach that?
that, yeah. Well, and that's the game that we play in all of these matters of marriage and family. Is the adults are fully capable and very willing to share their own longings, losses, hurts, identity, struggles, wishes, pain. The kids can't. The kids just have to deal with whatever the adults decide. And adults, especially in matters of marriage and family, because the feelings are so strong, they don't have any problem articulating, defending, advocating, and really forcefully communicating what they want, because these are very often urgent and strong and persistent, experiences that they have, whether it's that struggling marriage or those feelings of same-sex attraction or the pain of infertility. I mean, those can be all consuming for adults. And so in every area of marriage and family, that's actually one of the reasons I started Them Before Us, is because any topic about marriage and family, whether you're talking about the definition of marriage or divorce, or how do same-sex parents fare, and how do their kids, what are the outcomes for their kids, and gay men who want to use surrogates, and infertile couples who need IVF, and people who don't have children but want to be parents through adoption. Every conversation about marriage and family obsessively focuses on adult desires. And just, you can fact check me. Keep your eye out the next time you read a headline about somebody that is getting married, get divorced using reproductive technologies. How often do they mention the kid? Do they ever talk about the child's rights or needs or well-being? Slim to none is the answer to that. And I know because I have Google alerts that tell me anytime there's a headline using the topic surrogacy, anytime there's a headline that focuses on the topic of marriage, it's always about what adults want, somebody's journey, somebody's struggle, someone's self-discovery. It's never about the kids. So I expect that we're all very familiar with the adult's perspective on all of these topics. Our challenge is being familiar with the child's rights, the child's needs, the child's pain. And that is what Them Before Us seeks to do. So when you say, but how often are kids hurt by that? Well, that's a very challenging topic, because whenever you get to these new iterations of marriage and family, all we have is adult testimony. It takes years and years and years to actually study these phenomenon to see the impact that they have on children. For example, when there was the divorce explosion in the 70s, we had entire books, TV shows dedicated to talking about how not only was divorce okay, it was actually really good for kids. Like, kids did better when they had two Christmases. Kids were happier when their own parents were fulfilled and happy, even if it meant that they had to live in two different homes. Well, we've had decades to study divorce, and now it's very clear that there is no such thing as a good divorce. Children are harmed even when it is a low conflict divorce that was, broke up a low conflict marriage and the parents were nice and friendly to each other afterwards. It always tanks children, physical health, mental health, emotional health, academic health, relational health. It damages their own prospects for marriage as well. So then we just did it again with same-sex parenting, right? Something else that the world has never seen before: households headed by two men or two women. And we didn't have data on that because it's not possible in our species. And so we rushed all of these studies that were largely based on what adults said about themselves. And it turns out when the adults are talking on behalf of the kids, or when we're just measuring it based on how the adults feel, miraculously, the kids love it. It's amazing. They love being raised in homes that exclude their mother or father. Well, it'll be a couple more decades, and we will get the stories and we will get the studies, and it will turn out that all the things that natural law validates about who children are and what those needs and what they need will be proven true, right? But right now we're arguing against silence. In many ways we're arguing, except for all of the mountains of data that we know that biological parents matter, that mothers and father offer distinct and complementary benefits to children, that anytime kids lose a parent, it harms them. Other than those truths, same-sex parenting is great, right? So now we're moving into the surrogate world where people are saying, well, are kids really harmed from this? Are they really harmed? And the answer is, we don't know, because our species is not familiar with motherless babies. Like, it's actually very, very hard for humans to make motherless children. we've never seen it before, not on an intentional level. We've got experience with children who lose their mothers at birth. And until like modern medicine, until NICUs, until bottles, those babies just died. Like that's how important the mother child bond is, right? But now we're moving into this new epoch where they're like, but where's the data? Where's the harm? What's showing that these kids suffer when they're commercially and intentionally separated from their mother the day that they are born? I mean, show me the data. And the answer is the fact that we don't have data on all of these novel family arrangements doesn't validate that they are okay. It actually communicates that this is not the kind of thing that we should ever be doing with human children because it's so antithetical to what it means to be a child. So I understand friends that go, but I mean, really, what's the harm? But the answer is there's great harm, especially if
Mhm.
you look at it from the perspective of the child.
There is something interesting about a visceral reaction to certain stories. So, one of the things that you shared recently was a middle aged man from South America that managed to purchase himself an infant baby, and he was raising that baby as a single man. I had a visceral reaction to that. And perhaps it was because I've still got a toddler who is over 2 years, and I am still his point of contact when he's emotionally upset. And it, especially in the first year of infant's life, the job of a husband or a father is largely supporting the mother. Men really start coming in when the kids are a little bit older. Initially, the kids, they are built not to be separated from the mothers. And you've got this line in your book, which is, and I'm paraphrasing again, we used to mourn kids being orphaned. Now we create orphans. And that was just, I just couldn't quite shake that visceral feeling that I had that it's just wrong on so many levels. But everyone seems to be doing it. And looking out there, why is nobody stopping to ask the questions?
Culture, yeah. Why is all of this massive overhaul of marriage and family taking place? Why is there an unregulated market where you can buy and sell infants who may or may not be related to you with no kind of screening or background checks? Why? And like, why are we stripping the words mother and father out of all of our parenthood laws? Why is it that we're saying that any adult has a right to adopt, even if it's not in the child's best interest? Why is it that cohabitation rates are skyrocketing instead of marriage? Why is it that we're promoting single motherhood or single fatherhood by choice? Why? And it's because we've exalted adult sexual desire and sexual feeling to the highest aim. It's because that has become God. And when adult sexual desire becomes God, children are the required sacrifice. So we set this up for ourselves, right? When we elevated adult fulfillment to the highest levels, well, that means kids have to sacrifice for adults. And, you know, you don't see it as starkly when it's, for example, an infertile woman's sister who's carrying the woman's genetic children for her. But you see it very, very starkly when that man goes to Mexico to buy a baby, doesn't know, holds the baby like he's holding a sack of potatoes, and he literally has a picture that looks like a mugshot. Then you see very, very clearly the consequences of elevating adult sexual desire or adult fulfillment to the highest levels. And it is that children will lose. They lose their life, they lose their family, they very often lose a safe and secure home, they lose stability. It's we're heading to dystopia is actually where we're going. You know, that's really where we're already there in a lot of senses in terms of reproductive technologies, and it's not getting any better. So we've got a choice before us. Are we going to continue to say, you know, to select some sympathetic cases where adults really genuinely might be suffering and say, you know what, just let the adults have what they want? Or are we going to understand that genuinely all marriage and family issues come down to a matter of justice for children and start defending kids. Those are the two choices before us.